pal.
Yeah, so we're going to do Craig's steps 1, 2 and 3 presentation, just obviously listen, give a bit of respect, and we'll give him some feedback afterwards. Take it away.
Yeah, step 1, we admitted that we was powerless over addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. The disease of addiction means to me that I have an illness, something that I suffer from. Something that just keeps eating away inside me and just makes me want to keep using and drinking and taking drugs to change the way I feel. Denial, I've been in denial about alcohol, that it wasn't a problem, that it's legal, and I always always said like heroin and crack, I only took that because it was addictive, not that I was an actual addict. And I hate that, and that enabled me to carry on drinking. But now I understand what the disease of addiction is. I mean, it's easy enough for me to accept it. Powerlessness. And powerlessness to me is, I can't stop once I start. And I'll hurt anybody or anything to get what I want. When I'm using, I'm powerless on the consequences of me using. What it's going to do to me. And I'm always thinking of my next fix, the day after. I'm always prepared for that day after. My unmanageability, my lifestyle, being homeless, falling out with my family, my friends, losing jobs, relationships. I'm unmanageable about in my relationships because I never actually got in a relationship. I never actually had a relationship with myself. Never actually comfortable in my own skin. That goes on to the emotions and the feelings. I suppressed all that stuff. My emotions, my feelings, and that. I don't want to go on about the disease of addiction, but I look at it as like cancer. It's a disease. It gets worse and gets worse. I see like the disease of addiction. I don't believe I was born with it. I believe that it progressed and turned into a terminal illness and come out as I got older because I couldn't manage my feelings and my thoughts. The spiritual principles about honesty, being honest in my step 1, being open, open that I was an addict, never accepted that I was an addict, and willing to put down them drink and them drugs and stuff like that. But the spiritual principles are important. Right, I'm on step 2. And just took that on.
Yeah.
Right, step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Hope. What I have hope for, I hope to be clean, I hope to be sober, I hope to recover from my disease, and to have a different way of living, a different life, to have hope in my life. I hope to see my kids again and things like that. Coming to believe, I believe in God, me. I believe in the fellowship. I believe in being honest and open in meetings. I believe that it works for other people to help me. I believe in messages being sent through people. I believe in the Just for Today readings. I believe in a power greater than ourselves. God of my understanding, which is God. I believe in messages from the church. Listening to their experiences. And the spiritual principles. Open-minded. I'm open-minded to new things. Trying doing new things like doing things a different way, living life a different way, living an honest life, listening to people, something I never did before, never listened to anybody. Even when people used to tell me I was doing something wrong, I always dismissed it. And when people start telling me I'm doing something right, be open-minded to it. And I get strength, hope and courage from my higher power, coming to believe in what I believe in. That's me. Step 3. Step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Making a decision to me is something that I've thought about, something that I'm willing to do, something that I've thought hard, not just with my head but with my heart, that I know it's the right thing to do. It's about action, making a decision, about putting that action in. Examples in the past where I've run off, where I've acted on myself, well, you know, drinking, going back to prison, trying to do everything my way all the time, you know, being in the driver's seat all the time and always wanting to, not knowing right from wrong. God's will, you know, about honest, caring in others, being considerate, just being a normal person, you know, having a good life and stuff like that. And how I communicate with my higher power, you know, I pray, I do the just reading, I do the daily reflections, the AA one, you know, and you know, I take messages from that. And I believe that there's messages that come through that. It's weird because on particular days when I do them readings, there's something that comes up in them readings that I'm feeling that day. I believe that's God working in my life, me. Another way I would communicate with my higher power is by going to church, singing, and you know, I might not sing, but I have a clap and a dance, and you know, I don't even feel like I'm being judged, you know, anymore. I used to have a lot of pride before, and you know, that's where I turn my will and my life over. You know, I'm doing that. It's making me more of a confident person, more self-esteem, and helping people and helping the newcomer and things like that. And spiritual principles to me is courage, faith, trust, strength and willingness. You know, step 3, you know, it's all about action to me. Everything that I've learned in my step 2, you know, and the foundation in step 1, I'm building everything on top of it. That's me.
Done.